Hello and welcome. Let's check in this video if I can save 600 quid on the repair of the table saw that I bought 2 years ago. So, hello and welcome to Wildtail Creative Design. In 2023 I bought this Startrite table saw for 210 quid from a guy in London. Then I had to pay probably 80 quid for the fuel for the car to drive there and back, so let's call it 300 quid. After 2 years of using, not a lot, just once in a while, unfortunately one of the joints that lowers and lifts the blade snapped, or actually one of the pins just snapped. So you can see I can spin the handle and there is no action, the blade stays in place because the joint just split. So you can see that the shaft is not actually engaged. I had to revert back to the lovely Imperial hexagonal imbus tools just to remove the top. Interestingly, I was advised that this job can be done without removing of the top, but I still struggle to have it done even with the cast iron top removed. To be fair, removal was quite an easy process. All the bolts were fairly well maintained. Somehow there was no corrosion and they came out fairly easily. So I was really pleased that I didn't have to fight with them, and it was a fairly easy process to get it sorted. Just for the reference, I approached a few businesses and asked them if they could replace this for me, because I just couldn't be bothered, to be fair. Oh, by the way, I would love to do some CrossFit to be able to lift it. I have to say it was bloody awkward and a bit heavy. Yeah, go on, yeah. Anyway, one quote was from TMMachin, and Liam was really helpful, and he quoted me for around 2 hours of labor, which is 330 quid including VAT, but an additional would be 55 quid, and there of course would be some travel time. Then I got another quote from Dalton Watkin, and the quote was anything between 500 and 750 plus VAT, and of course plus the parts. So minimum 600 quid plus the parts. And I just thought, nah, I'm not spending 600 quid give or take on it. I will try to do it myself. So I was a little bit afraid that the motor may slightly drop, so I tried to keep it upright, and I used this lovely piece of wood just to keep it up, and as a precaution I strung that piece of string as well just to keep it in place. Somehow I do like my fingers. And usually when the little hammer is not enough, what do? You pick a bigger one, and that's the option that I used on few occasions. Then probably I should have gone to Specsavers because I was hammering the pin from the wrong end. Now I can see it on the big screen, but when I tried to do it, I couldn't actually spot it. Anyway, that's the lovely new universal joint, and I got this one with 2 pins, and it was sold by Machine Spares Limited, and the guy was absolutely brilliant. The whole thing was 90 quid, and I got a little pack of Haribo that actually cheered me up, so thank you for it. After hammering this pin, I just thought, no way, let's go an easy way, so I thought I would drill it out, and actually that was a good call, just to drill it out, and then it popped out quite easily. So the first pin is out, so I'm quite pleased. It took me, let's say, half an hour or so to get it sorted. And then foolishly I thought, ooh, what if I will prop it up and be able to hammer out the other pin? How hard can it be? Yeah, it is a little bit harder than it looks. So after a few goes, I just thought, screw it, let's finally remove the blade and do it properly to get better access. I don't know how I would have done all of it without removing the top of the saw blade, top of the table saw. The access would be awkward, and I have, let's say, mid-size hands, but I'll just struggle to get it sorted with all the parts in place. So again, if in doubt, use bigger hammer, and yes, usually that was the answer to get it sorted. But then I thought, no, let's take it out, and it would be easier if I could unscrew it entirely and just do it on my workbench. And I think that was the best call. Actually, to remove it completely, it was fairly easy, and now it was so much easier, and it was way less headache to get it sorted. By the way, Ian, you can see lovely chunks of wood, so the bench is coming. So hopefully in the next few weeks I will be able to actually focus on this one and sort out my new bench. So the pin popped out, so quite happy with this one. And that is the culprit, so bloody joint that failed. And of course I bought from AliExpress appropriate 3/16 drills, because the joint comes drilled from one side only. Not really sure why. It would make sense if it would be drilled from both ends, and I'm sure in the factory it would be easier just to get it sorted instead of me trying to figure it out. Anyway, I drilled the pilot hole through. I marked it up as I thought it should be, and as you will see shortly, actually it didn't go as good as I was hoping for. So the pilot hole, and now it is time to drill it with lovely imperial size drill to get spot on size, recommended size by Startrite to get it sorted. So how hard can it be? Again, it looks fairly easy just to get it sorted, but in reality it's not that easy, because somehow holes through the shaft were not bang on in the middle. So I tried to be gentle to insert the pin, and nope, bigger hammer, still no joy. So I just thought, screw it, let's take the pin out and drill through the whole lot just to align better the holes that I have made, or actually one hole that I have made, and the holes in the shaft. And that actually proved to be a good call. I'm not a mechanical engineer, and maybe I have missed a trick with pins, but somehow it didn't want to work as good as I was hoping for. So anyway, let's re-drill both at the same time so there's a perfect alignment. Oh, by the way, I have to say I love those washer with some bearings. It was the first time that I have seen that kind of bearings within the washers. That was quite a neat detail. I used the opportunity as well just to tidy up the shaft, just to make it slightly cleaner. It was caked in some old residue, and then apply a little bit of grease just to lubricate it to make life slightly easier with assembly in a minute. So let's go with the copper grease that I already had when I replaced a year ago or so brake pads in my car. So let's use this one, and then let's try to sort the second pin. Again, how hard can it be? So I started gingerly with a tiny little hammer, no joy. Then again, access is so awkward, I couldn't use the bigger pliers, so then I went for a small one, narrow ones. Again, quite optimistic, tiny hammer, and not much joy with this one. So let's go for a next tool, which is a bigger hammer. And of course, bigger hammer still didn't solve the issue. Somehow the holes were still not aligned, so somehow I didn't want to go in as easily as I was hoping for. And then I thought, ooh, let's use the blowtorch. No, but first the lighter. Could I just heat it up just to make it fit slightly easier? So I used the little lighter, and I thought foolishly that it might be enough. Hence, another go with this one. Absolutely no joy. It was so awkward, so annoying, and it just didn't fit. Picked even bigger hammer to whack it in, still no joy. So, what's the next solution? Blowtorch. Let's heat it up properly. I think this Chinese-made head for the blowtorch is absolutely shit. But hey ho, a little bit of flames, no one else got injured, and I even managed to heat it up after a few attempts, so that was a good call. I think the fact that I heat it up made my life slightly easier. The pins look like dog's dinner, absolutely botched job, but I'm over the moon. Actually it works, and if one of them will fail over a time, tough luck, I will have to fix this again. And I used the opportunity just to get rid of the surface rust from the table saw, and now it looks few years younger, and it just made me smile. So anyway, now it is time to test if actually all of it works. So after installation of the blade, of course I had to test it if it lowers and lifts the blade, and I have to say it actually does it, and it works a little bit easier than it was a few weeks ago. So I'm over the moon. In the process of it, I learned quite a bit. I had a good laugh on a few occasions. I did swear a few times as well, but I managed to save at least 600 quid in the process. So happy days. Overall, I'm really happy with the outcome, and hopefully my 210 quid table saw will still serve me for another few years to come. So thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this one, please subscribe, that will be highly appreciated, and see you next time.